Welcome to all viewers to another team selection video, and this is a bit of an early one. We still have to see what happens in that Burnley-Leicester game, and that will actually change the complexity of this team. And I'm going to be talking about the differences in the Game Week 27 free hit compared to my original team, and it has kind of saved me, but then again, it also was part of my strategy in Game Week 26 to wildcard, then free and 27, so there's quite a lot of ifs and buts there. And I'm also going to be talking about my Game Week 28 transfer plans, and there's two options. I want you in the comment section down below to vote for the one you think is best. It could involve a -4 or even a -8 hit, and that will be very interesting to see how it all pans out. So let's just jump straight into this. A massive shout out goes out to all the channel members, especially those in the Captain Legend tiers like Aranya, Rock and Roll, Yorang, and now Denin, the latest member, so thank you very much. Also Federico Caliso on Patreon, and if you check the description below you can see a full list of the channel membership perks and exclusive early access that you can get as a legend, so thank you very much to all of you. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. We're almost at 1,000 followers on both of those platforms. In Game Week 27, it's been decent so far. There's a few things that could have gone my way and definitely changed the outcome of this week and made it a very good free hit. And I went with Fraser Forster in the end because I wanted to have Sterling in the midfield, and that actually ultimately backfired because Foden was the one who scored and I had him in my original team. I thought he could be benched. The same with Livramento. There was kind of a little element of doubt for both of those. I actually said in the deadline stream that I think both of them will start, but I'm not that sure about it, and I was convinced that Sterling and Mahrez would, but then with Pep Roulette, you have to probably sometimes second guess yourself and the Spaniard in order to get the right team selection. But yeah, it's very difficult to predict these things. And ultimately, not going for Livramento, Walker Peters and Foden was a little bit costly, but not too much. I got most of the kind of key performers this week with Cancelo, Son and Harry Kane. There was also a few differentials like Kulusevski and Che Adams who did very well. Congratulations to any of you who have them. And without the free hit, I would have actually had 31 points, so 20 less than this free hit team, and only one player left, which would have been Veko's captain. But with this free hit, I've got 51 points and also 3 players left, including Veko's captain. So Tarkowski and me could be the main difference. If either of them get a goal or a clean sheet, maybe even both, then this could be a pretty decent free hit in the end, gaining 20 plus points. But let's wait and see. I'm not really expecting a clean sheet for Burnley there against Leicester, but hopefully a goal from either of them against one of the weakest defences this season, especially from set pieces. That would be very, very good. Bruno Fernandes was one of the major underperformers in Game Week 27. He missed crucial chances. He even had an opportunity to square it to Ronaldo, who had an open goal. So it wasn't his day. Sterling as well. I was a bit disappointed about that, but Mahrez was the kind of big killer there. When I saw he wasn't in the lineup, I could just tell he was going to get 10 to 20 minutes at the end. And unless he got a penalty, it would have been very difficult for him to do something. And Everton actually gave City a pretty good game there, but very happy to have Cancelo. And those of you who doubled up with Laporte or Diaz, you know, you're looking very good there. At one point, I actually had Cancelo and Walker. That would have backfired. Also, Maguire, who was benched. Jadon Sancho was another one. So the free hit was full of surprises for a lot of these kind of key players in Game Week 27. I was happy with Fraser Forster though, and just to be completely transparent with all of you, if I had gone for Livramento, I probably would have benched him in favour for a City or United defender. So I'm happy to have got the points for that Southampton clean sheet in one way or another. Broja has been disappointing in recent weeks, but I still think he can come good. And for his price, you're not going to get too much better. So I think we should be a little bit patient and also kind of be a bit more realistic with our expectations. But obviously, whether you're 5 million or 10 million, you want points. So you just have to hope that he gets that very soon. The Veko's captaincy was also very disappointing so far, but he still has time to make things right. Those who captain Harry Kane and Son are probably laughing. Harry Kane with a really good performance. He probably should have got all 3 bonus points, but they were snatched up by the very end. Doherty was one of the biggest performers this week, which is absolutely insane when you put it like that. But that's kind of the week it was so far. Douglas Luiz would have come on for Mahrez if he had missed out entirely. So pretty much it's just the Burnley players left, and we'll see what happens. But I'm fairly happy with the free hit. It's nothing spectacular. And in recent years, looking at my free hit chip usage, it tends to be quite a marginal gain. But those who gain 30 points or more, I think you'd be pretty happy with that. And if I can get near that with these triple Burnley players left against Leicester, I'm going to be fairly happy myself. Enough about the free hit. Now let's just focus completely on Double Gameweek 28. Plenty of doubles, and there could be that extra one between Chelsea and Norwich along the way. It depends on the FA Cup. Just to summarise for any of you who aren't aware, basically what happens here is if Chelsea or Norwich advance to the next round of the FA Cup, they're going to blank in Game Week 30, and that fixture will be moved to Game Week 28, thus forming a double for both teams. Chelsea's double would be Burnley away and Norwich away, while Norwich would have 2 home games against Brentford and Chelsea. But we're all going to be targeting the Chelsea players, especially the defenders like Rudiger, Thiago Silva and Reece James. I would argue those are the 3 best options. There's also Marcos Alonso, but I'm not as keen on him, and I'm going to be talking about this in the transfer tips video. But looking at my team, I've got double Wolves defence, and it's pretty good looking at their double in 28. You would expect 1 clean sheet at the very least. Wolves have only conceded 20 goals this season, which I think is the 2nd or 3rd least of any team, with City being by far the best defence. But I do like Jose Sa and Cody. And then I've also got double Liverpool defence. Now, the main thing I'm looking at, and I'm going to talk about this in the transfers section, I'm looking to bench boost this team, and with a -4, this would be a pretty good bench boost team, and even possibly a -8 if I really want to get a Chelsea player or 2. But double Liverpool defence, I'm very happy with that. I would be a bit sceptical and cautious about selling Robertson or Arnold in order to get a Chelsea player in. My preference would be to get rid of Tierney if anything, but then looking at my Game Week 30 plan, that would kind of undermine it, and that's why I have to be very careful with my transfers, because a lot of people will be set on free hitting in Game Week 30. I'm going to try to avoid it if possible, because I already have quite a lot of players playing in Game Week 30, and getting rid of some of these players from Wolves, Arsenal, etc. that are definitely playing in Game Week 30 would kind of undermine that and leave me less flexible, which is not what I want to do. But the defence looks pretty good for this week, pretty much. Tierney, Digne, Cody, Robertson, Arnold all look good this week. The only thing that's missing is a Chelsea defender. Although Chelsea aren't guaranteed to double in 28, it's looking very, very likely. You'd expect them to beat Luton Town, and Norwich face Liverpool. That's not out of the realms of possibility for Norwich to win that, but you're mainly expecting Chelsea to go through, maybe Norwich to be knocked out, and they have a double in 28 anyways. But I'm happy with the defence. A Chelsea defender would be very good, and they would become my captain. My midfield is also looking pretty decent, with Son having a single game week against Everton, Salah facing West Ham. That's still a good fixture, and you could captain him, but I still think there might be a few better captaincy options outside of my team. But looking at this, even Che Adams, Broja, Jimenez, all these players that could be captainable, I still wouldn't be that keen on them. Rafinha's another one. I think with him, the Brazilian, you'd probably want to hold him if you have him, but if you don't, even on a wild card, which I talked about in my best wildcard team video, you can consider him for sure, but I think there might be better options elsewhere. Joe Willock's another really good one, who doubles in 28 and 29. I'm happy with Saka. I think he's still a great choice on the wildcard or as a free transfer, but he only has a single game week. We all kind of banked on Arsenal having that double against Chelsea and Watford, but it didn't materialise. But he still doesn't have a blank pretty much for the rest of the season. That already happened in Game Week 27, so Arsenal offers some pretty good value. They're going to have more doubles in the future. They've got plenty of games in hand on their competitors. There's also Jarrod Bowen. He's probably the one that I'm least confident about. He's facing Liverpool away. Now, whilst Bowen has been one of the best midfielders and assets this season, I think now could be the time to sell, and he's going to actually feature in some of my future videos where I talk about him in depth. But other than that, I'm very happy with the rest of my midfield, especially Salah, Son and Saka. My attackers as well, I just mentioned them. Weghorst has a poor fixture this week, but he's still a good option long term. We're not really kind of blessed with a lot of good options up front. He could still be a good option on the wild card, but at the same time, Che Adams is showing very good form. There's Broja, they've got some fantastic fixtures. Jimenez has a great double, doesn't blank in 30. So Weghorst is expendable, and I am actually open to the idea of selling him, despite the fact they got me a very good haul in Game Week 26 and can still do very well for me at the end of Game Week 27. Ramsdale would be on my bench. Of course, Jose Sa is always going to start, but it doesn't really matter because I would be bench boosting this team. And now I'm going to be showing you my Game Week 28 transfer plans, and it could be a -8 hit. If you haven't already, check out FPL.team. This is the website that I'm using to kind of plan ahead. It gives you a good visual of how your team would look like in future weeks with transfers or without them. And you can also see which captaincy options would be good in every single week and how you can plan ahead and be ahead of all your competitors. So this transfer plan would involve a -8 hit, but I would keep Robertson and instead sell Tierney to Thiago Silva, and I'd also get Joe Willock in for Jarrod Bowen, and that gives me enough money to get Che Adams up front in for Weghorst, and I could bench boost this team. It doesn't really matter who's on the bench. I could put Saka, Son, Arnold, Salah, etc., but that would be a pretty good bench, and I think this could be a pretty high scoring team. I really like this one, and you might even prefer the second option, and once again I encourage all of you to kind of vote in the comment section down below for the best set of transfers. I do like the idea of keeping Robertson over Tierney. I've already got Ramsdale to cover Arsenal, but the bad thing about this is that in Game Week 30 I probably would be a bit short, or I might need to free hit in the end, which is not really ideal because I'm well set and well prepared for Game Week 30, and with a few transfers I could get to 10 or 11, and getting rid of Tierney already eliminates one of those and makes it a bit more difficult to navigate. With this team I would have 0.3 million left in the bank, and that's going to be also crucial when we compare it to this second set of transfers that I have proposed. But I do like Joe Willock's back-to-back doubles. I mentioned him earlier. I think he's a good option even on a wild card. I like the rest of my midfield. I'd have no qualms about them. And the forward line, 2 Southampton forwards and Jimenez, I think is still pretty decent considering just the lack of options we have, and the defence is very solid, and I've got that Chelsea player covered, and I'd probably captain Thiago Silva, but I'm going to wait for the midweek games in the FA Cup before confirming transfers, and I would encourage all of you to do the very same thing, because you never know, Chelsea might not even have a double in 28, and we could afford to wait another week, and I would probably be looking to wait until Game Week 31, keep Kieran Tierney, and make transfers elsewhere. But if all goes as we expect, I think this would be a pretty good set of transfers. These moves would also be for a -8 hit, so free transfers. I would actually get rid of Robertson instead, keep Tierney and get Rudiger in and probably captain him. Then the actual alternative in midfield is going for Coutinho instead of Joe Willock. Che Adams would also come in up front. I could also get Dennis, but I'm not really a big fan of bringing him in right now, and I'd rather go for the informed Che Adams, who's got great fixtures for Southampton, and they're also just looking really good at the moment. They're in a great run. I think Southampton have only lost 1 game of their last 10 matches, which is very impressive. So this would also be a very good bench boost team, and I would actually be able to keep Tierney for Game Week 30, get rid of Robertson unfortunately instead, and also have probably 2 of the best captaincy options this week in Rudiger and Coutinho. Let me know what you think of both of these plans. Would you rather keep Robertson or Tierney, and would you rather get Coutinho or Willock? That's pretty much what it comes down to. And in terms of the incomings, it would be Rudiger instead of Thiago Silva. I think both of them are really good, and as I talked about in the wildcard team, Thiago Silva is actually better for bonus points, but Rudiger has better underlying numbers despite having 1 fewer goal this season. Both of them look really good. There's also Reece James, who is also definitely worth considering. He got 60 minutes in the Carabao Cup final, and that's very, very encouraging. But at the same time, you would think his minutes could be a bit more managed, especially after coming back from such a lengthy injury. So I think both of these team plans would look very good, and I'm quite happy to take a -8 hit. But at the same time, I could maybe reduce that to a -4 or even just 1 free transfer depending on what happens in the FA Cup. That could alter all of our plans quite significantly. But in terms of the captaincy, I would kind of be leaning towards a Chelsea player, whether it's in defence or midfield. Then there's Coutinho. I think he's also a pretty good option. I'm not sure if he's going to start both games. I think he will, but there is an element of doubt there if I'm being completely honest there. But Rudiger would be really good. He's probably my top pick for the captaincy along with Reece James, but there's always the element of minutes that you have to factor in. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. I'll also be talking about my Game Week 29 and 30 plans in future videos, so stay tuned. There's also going to be a transfer tips video and the best free hit team. If this video gets to 150 likes, that would be much appreciated. All the very best of luck for the rest of Game Week 27 and Game Week 28, which should be very important. So many doubles and blanks in the next few weeks. They could be crucial to how we end up doing at the very end. But there's so much football to be played. Don't beat yourself up about any bad scores or bad ranks. A lot could still change. And the same goes if you're flying. Obviously, enjoy it, congratulations, but at the same time try to be measured and do not be complacent. There's still quite a lot of games left to be played. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and once again, as I said, in the description below there's a list of all the perks as a Patreon or channel member, including exclusive early access to my videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the live streams. As always, it's been a blast, and just take care, enjoy the football, and I'll see you next time.